What's up, cowboys, and anyone unsubscribed to the channel? I want to apologize for the inactivity that there's been on my channel recently. Obviously, I have been extremely busy with college work, but on top of that, I've also been doing stuff within my own free time, such as rewatching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Oh, I just pulled your IP. 308 Negra Aurora Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's you, isn't it?
No. Also, hopefully you enjoy this new layout. I want to keep my channel videos engaging and filled with a decent amount of edits that people will watch while not showing my face, like a certain individual who has been prone to lots of controversy. But I'm not making this video to talk about Dream, or anyone affiliated with him, like his old editor. But I could forgive Christine for sticking her nose in business that totally wasn't hers and just making a big deal out of everything, and a ton of other personal things that she did that I don't even want to get into. But there's two things I can't forgive her for. First and foremost, this is the seventh fucking time I've said. First and foremost, this apology is complete garbage. This is probably a bit hard to read, and since I am,
I was gonna put him,
American, I understand how people struggle with basic reading comprehension.
Yeah, I'm actually not pressed. All I was saying, I'm 20 years old with a Rolex. Are you 20 years old? No.
That's what the kids call epic fail.
So I'll put each of these paragraphs in bullet points that better explain what Firesale was trying to say. I'm not trying to be patronizing either. It's very clear throughout this excuse of an apology that Firesale still tries to put on this personality she's built for herself, putting on the guise of being this wholesome and very soft-spoken person.
This is the home of Larry Cleast, rapist. But you wouldn't know it if it wasn't for the friendly reminders Larry is required by law to provide. Now, this rapist lives just like any normal, non-raping person would.
Rapist coming!
Did you know Firesale has a Wikitubia page? Should contact the moderators. Get my name up there. Am I being a dick? Yes. Is it deserved? Absolutely. You think this is bad? This chicanery? Second thing I can't forgive Firesale for is that she conspired to accuse me of fucking grooming. How do you call yourself my friend and don't know that I'm a certified MILF lover? It seems to me that throughout YouTube history, whenever a content creator astronomically fucks up, their apology is either so abysmally terrible that it gives me brain damage, or they actually just don't apologize at all.
YouTube 101. Apologies are something that YouTubers never want to do, but pretty much all of them will have to at some point or another. Now, in an ideal world, all you'll have to do when you have to apologize is fucking apologize. Acknowledge what the mistake was, say you're sorry for it, and say that you're gonna try your best never to do it again.
Holy shit, this aged like fucking milk. The way I see it, there's a holy trinity of YouTube non-apologies out there, and in this video, I'm going to go over the three as follows. The I'm sorry, you're sorry strategy used by Firesale, the cooldown period presented by Miniladd, and finally, the sacrifice card used by Pyrocynical. I've shown Firesale's apology, and you can already make your own conclusions from it if you go back in the video, but here's a brief synopsis of how it came to be. On March 1st of 2022, Firesale posted a twitlonger showcasing her apology before deactivating her account 30 minutes later. Firesale also made an apology on her YouTube channel, but most likely deleted it because not only did it debunk a few things she made in her twitlonger, but it also added nothing at all to the conversation that was already being started. The twitlonger starts with the standard title, "Hey everybody," but then immediately goes on to contradict itself within the second paragraph. Firesale goes on to say that 6 months prior to March 1st, her and a friend staying over at her place both performed sexual acts on one another, implying that each party consented. She then immediately debunks this information in the same and subsequent paragraph, stating that despite her friend's discomfort and objections, she continued to push on and even use manipulation tactics. That doesn't mean that both of you performed sexual acts on each other. That means one of you was a fucking creep and the other was scared of you. Firesale also explains with her friend that there was a pregnancy scare after the acts were committed. But later, in Firesale's YouTube apology, she says that her friend was male. So what was the point of saying any of that at all? There's also this bit, which is really bad. Just, please buy protection. It's cheap. and don't fucking reuse it. Arguably, the hardest part of apologizing as a content creator is not the apology itself, but the rehabilitation process and what you will do afterwards, whether it be leaving or fixing yourself for the preventable future. Firesale, after just dropping this bomb of information on us, gives us her word that she may have changed throughout 6 months. Not that she has changed and has made any efforts to fix herself, but she just may have changed. It's a possibility. We would then find out throughout March that this isn't even her first offense. She has emotionally and sexually manipulated multiple people. With all of this information and the contradictory statements involved throughout this apology, ending it off with "I'm sorry for those who are hurt by my actions" seems like an extremely empty statement. It seems throughout this entire apology, Firesale isn't actually sorry for the actions she committed, but she's making a last-ditch effort to save her self-image, which has already been irreversibly damaged. Firesale is a great example of these types of non-apologies where content creators say that "I'm sorry you feel that way" or "I'm sorry that your feelings were hurt," not because she is the latest example of a long line of content creators fucking up their careers, but because she's very subtle with the way that she doesn't actually apologize for her actions. She doesn't take the full weight of her responsibilities, she denies rehabilitation, stating that she may have already gained it, and she blatantly withheld information probably because she didn't think it would come out. Oftentimes, after apologizing, YouTubers or content creators come back mere months after they announce their leave. I can only assume this is because their YouTube revenue stream is a lot better than any of their other options, at least where they live, so they usually come back because they need the money, and thus they have to act like nothing ever happened. Which brings us to our next non-apologist. In my infamous video where I discussed my disliking towards the trend of Reddit videos flooding the YouTube algorithm at the time, I praised Miniladd for his unique approach at the particular content he created. While other YouTubers made multiple videos on the same subreddit, he reviewed tidbits of subreddits suggested by his fans, adding variety and more personality to his specific content, focusing more on him and his community rather than one he had no affiliation with. And while I do still stand by that statement, my praise for Miniladd has not aged well.
You can't keep getting away with it!
So, near the end of 2019, Miniladd got caught for and apologized for, you know exactly what. It happens every, year and a fucking half, okay? I left my Minecraft server with no admins for the fucking... left your DMs with no admins. So, around December 29th, after he posts his last video, he also posts his apology. I could find it on his Twitter, but he has deleted every single tweet he has ever made and blacked out his profile.
Outside, he did it. He touched grass. It's not the only thing he touched.
Ideally, I could have chose Call Me Carson as a great example for this type of non-apology, because what he did was that he made an apology, claimed that he would never come back, only to come back a few months later. He never acknowledged what he did, and the people he screwed over, nor the friends he lost. He just moved on like nothing happened, and now he kind of seems like a shallower shell of his former self. But the reason I chose Miniladd for this type of non-apology is because I actually believe him. More accurately, I believed him the second time he came back. The first time Miniladd came back on February 20th of 2020, the only thing he really discusses is him and his girlfriend breaking up, as well as how he hadn't made videos in a long time because he had been going through a creative slump. He obviously tries to sweep the drama under the rug, but I think it was slowly eating away at him. I don't have any definitive proof that that's true, except for the fact that he shaves his head, which is the exact same thing Jesse Pinkman does after he shoots a man point blank in the face in Breaking Bad.
How many times did you shoot him anyway? Jesse.
I feel like shit.
Much like Call Me Carson, Miniladd took advantage of his fans, didn't listen to his friends' advice, and even pushed them away, while he continued to pretend that everything was fine. But I think all of that, with the combination of his poor health as well as his girlfriend breaking up with him, was the straw that broke the camel's back. This is clearly evident from his second stream back, because he looks like the average American Joe Rogan listener, the only difference being that he didn't get ripped by smoking meth. So although Miniladd's first apology was insincere and he clearly wanted things swept under the rug, he quickly realized how unhealthy his mindset was and thus subverted expectations with a second actual apology. In his second apology, and I guess I should really be saying second acknowledgement, where obviously in the first he didn't acknowledge anything at all, he also talks about how he seeks therapy and refused any handouts. And the reason I'm calling this a redemption in the first place is for this final reason, that he actually points out that he really did fuck up. up. He speaks in regards to his old friends and fans that if they leave, he understands, and if they come back, he'll welcome them with open arms. He knows that after what he's done, he's in no position whatsoever to call any shots, which unfortunately is more than I can say for half the fucking people on this website. God help me. Now, I could have done some research on this topic, but I already know a lot about it because, well, you know. After reading his Reddit response and watching his response video and also waiting for this whole situation to not be on fucking fire, I do believe Pyro and agree with him that both parties fucked up to a certain degree.
Yee ass haircut.
And much like Miniladd, this particular situation is a special example of a non-apology we see time and time again on this website. Oftentimes when apologizing, content creators do this thing where they agree with the accusations made against them and discuss how what they did was wrong, but they claim that the truth has been skewed and decide to tell their own side of the story. But usually they end up making their case worse for themselves, or sometimes even admit to doing something wrong that nobody had even talked about. Sometimes I don't even think they know what they're apologizing for.
That's not how it happened.
Who cares?
What makes Pyrocynical's situation so special in this case is that he did exactly this, but on purpose.
Whether Pyro does respond to everything, or just pulls the Miniladd and ignores it for as long as—
I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of better to come out as some weird fetishist rather than a predator. Why did I say kinda? It's much better, actually. It's not kind of better, it's much better. Pyrocynical is a great representation of what YouTubers often fail so many times to do. He addresses all misconstrued information, but still gives himself a lot of flack for what actually happened. He recognizes that despite this changed perspective of the situation, it by no means excuses his actions. And he doesn't cry like a bitch, making fun of himself more than anything else. Pyrocynical's apology, along with the other two I've gone over in this video, is one of the most common apologies I've seen on YouTube or Twitter or any other platform. Keep in mind that I'm using these YouTubers as examples of what to do or what not to do, or maybe even a little bit of both. I'm not trying to put one over the other, I just thought they were the best examples to use for the types of apologies that I presented in this video. Aside from Firesale, for very obvious reasons, I'm not trying to attack these people, I just thought they were the best people to use for these examples of apologies that I have seen throughout my years on YouTube. But that's the end of the video. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, maybe stick around, like, subscribe, try and boost me into the algorithm because Lord knows I need it. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see all of you cowboys in the next one.
I'm all up in my glory hole. Now you know, I'm all up in my glory hole. Now you know, for head and nothing project no. Mouth on side bitches them. Your table to my body through your. Great bedrooms in a good neighborhood. On fire like a margarita man.